This is an introduction to the Chicago Manual of Style, which is the style guide that we follow in art history. Each academic field has their own particular style guide that they follow, so MLA, which you might be familiar with, is typically used in English. Psychology and education follow APA, and Chicago, also called a CMS, is the style guide that we follow in art history. So the first thing you want to do is navigate to the university's library webpage and make sure you are logged in. You will have to be logged in to access the style guide. Next, you're just going to search Chicago Manual of Style. And it's thinking, and it comes up with a couple different sources. The one you want is this, the Chicago Manual of Style 18. That's the current version we're on, released in 2024. So we're going to click on that. It is available online. Click to follow, and it's going to load the actual web page. It lands us on this content page. We're going to click over to the Citation Quick Guide, and we get some options here. We want to use the Notes and Bibliography style, so we'll click through that. On this page, we have sample citations broken down by resource type. So the most common resource type is a book, and that's what you'll see first. And then we have chapters within an edited book, and the other most common, journal articles. And then you'll see over here all of the other types of media that this landing page has example citations for. The Chicago Notes Bibliography method doesn't use parenthetical citations at all, unlike APA and MLA, where you might put citation information within the body of the text in parentheses at the end of a sentence. In Chicago, you write your sentence that needs a citation, you put your period, and then you insert a footnote, and that will automatically generate a numbered footnote that'll bring you down to the bottom of whatever document you're working in. Word, Google Docs, they both have this capability. And then you'll type in your citation information there. So we'll start with looking at how you cite a book. So here you get the author's last name. Notice it goes first name, last name, comma, then you get the title of the book. Book titles are always italicized in Chicago. And then in parentheses, you have the publisher of the book, the year of publication, close your parentheses, comma, and page number before your period. So for specific footnotes, you will almost always need a page number to refer to the specific page within that book or whatever other type of resource you have, journal article, chapter, etc., where you found that specific information that you're referring to. The only time you won't need a page number is if you're referring to the book in general. So that is the kind of general book citation. And then one key feature of Chicago is that the first note is always this longer footnote with all of this citation information. The second time you cite that source, so if you want to cite this book again, you will then have a shortened note, which is only the last name, the title, it can also be a shortened title, and then your page number. So you only need all that information the first time, and then the next times you cite the same source, you can shorten that note. And then, after you've written all of your information in the body of your text, you will have another page that is a bibliography. In Chicago, the footnote and bibliographic citation formatting are different. So in the bibliography, we have the same information that we had in that full note, but the information appears in a different order with different punctuation. So we have the last name, comma, first name of the author, and then instead of our commas in between all of our information, we now have periods. And we won't have that page number because our bibliography refers to the book as a whole and not that specific page. And then we no longer have these parentheses that keep the publisher information somewhat secondary within the body of the footnote. So that's how books are cited, and then all of the other citation styles for all of the different types of sources that you might need to cite build off of that same format. So if we go down and look at chapter or another part of an edited book, so a good example of this is like an anthology where an editor puts together lots of chapters by different authors that are on the same topic. So to cite a chapter within an edited book, you still put the author's name first. This is the author of the specific chapter, not the book as a whole. You have in quotations the title of the chapter. So in Chicago, chapter titles and journal articles always go in quotes. And you have it in with a lowercase the book title as a whole, and then you have the editor information. So those people who did the work of compiling the whole book, their names are here, both spelled out, first name, last name, your same publisher information, and page number. All the same is true of your shortened note, and then in your bibliography, the same thing. You have the reversal of last name, first name, the chapter, periods instead of commas, capital I for your in for this book, and then they spell out edited by. So that's the other main difference between a footnote and a bibliographic entry, is that the bibliographic entry will spell out edited by, translated by, etc. And then you have everything else pretty much the same. The next most common type of citation is a journal article. We still have the author's name coming first name, last name, comma. We get the title of the article, and then this is the name of the journal that's italicized, and this is the volume number of the journal, which we just leave unitalicized next to the title of the journal. And then we have issue number 6, year of publication, and then this is the page range for the specific facts cited in the body of the text that they are referring to, and then this DOI URL. This DOI URL is a shortened, stable URL identifier for electronically accessed journals. It is different than the URL that's going to appear at the top of your browser when you're viewing that journal article through JSTOR or some other kind of database. This will typically be linked like off to the side of wherever you've accessed that work. And if you can find a DOI, that is the URL you should be using. They say otherwise you can include the method of access if you can't find one. For journal articles, shortened notes work incredibly similarly. And then your bibliographic entry, kind of the main difference is that you include the page ranges for the entire article. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. Reverse the order of last name, first name, periods instead of commas, and all of the other information stays the same. So a key takeaway here is that because there are two different formats of these citations, one for the footnote and one for the bibliography, automatic citation generators, while they can be really helpful to gather key pieces of information quickly, need to be checked for accuracy and reformatted depending on which version of the citation they're generating for you. So as an example of this, we're going to return to the university's website for the library. We have up the Chicago Manual of Style already. If we ask the university library for a citation in Chicago, it's pulling from the 16th edition. We're now on the 18th edition, where this city of publication is no longer needed. So this wouldn't be correct if I just copied this to my clipboard and put it in my paper. And even if it was correct, I would have to edit this in order to be a footnote formatting for when I'm actually making that citation throughout the body of my paper. The next several videos will be examples of using this guide to create citations, and be sure to also watch the video on formatting for the overall paper. So just like the citations need to follow the Chicago Manual of Style, so too does the actual layout, title page, bibliography, margins, what have you, for the paper as a whole.